Hello, everybody out there in internet land. This is Biv Crow with Mancave Museum,
Hello!
and this is episode 1 of Curating Your Collection, or as I like to call it, hey, don't throw that box away. You're going to need these tools. There is an iron, paper towels, any glass cleaner will do. I love this 3M auto glass cleaner, scissors, tape, and more tape. Now, of course, this isn't to make this look brand new and try to scam other collectors and pass it off as mint. This is to actually improve the boxes in your own collection if you know you're going to keep them. Now, this box right here is pretty much beaten to hell. I mean, it's got quite a few dings. It's actually got a pretty nasty deep cut right here. This is the one that I picked up at Barry Game Exchange for only $100. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open her up, and then I'll continue the recording as soon as I do that so we can actually see just how much work we're going to have to put into this and why those tools, the iron, the paper towels, the glass cleaner, and the tape are your best friends when it comes to restoring those old game boxes that are pretty much ready to go. Instead of throwing them out or giving them away for next to nothing, I'm going to show you how to make them brand new looking, kind of, again. Enjoy. Oakley dokley, so this is what the styrofoam looked like inside. It's not that bad overall. I'm not going to get into techniques as far as fixing up styrofoam in this episode. Maybe I can do that some other time. But the contents were okay. I mean, there's a little bit of scratching and, you know, a little bit of wear and tear, obviously, to the Nintendo. But, you know, the Nintendo system itself, those are easily replaced. You know, any Nintendo I get, I always put a brand new 72-pin connector in it. Or at least, you know, try for... there's that blinking light win situation, which is pretty good, actually. It completely negates the need for any 72-pin connectors. There was a little bit of documentation in here. Actually, I think this is most of the documentation. There might be a few things. I think the registration card is probably... No. Okay. I'm not entirely sure. You guys can go ahead and comment in the comments below. Let me know what I might be missing from a standard North American action set. The controllers obviously have seen better days, but the buttons, just like you would expect for old NES controllers, are still really responsive. And of course, you know, you got your typical grime, and I don't know if I can get that to focus, your grime and aging on the actual RF switch connector. And I got a, you know, just a cheap aftermarket replacement adapter from China. But that is not what we're focused on. What we're working on today is this box. Now, I am going to use tape. I would normally not use tape on the actual game boxes unless they're really severely damaged. But, you know, a lot of people out there would be like, oh, that's sacrilegious, don't use tape. But then, just looking this over, I was going to fold it before I started recording. There is tape right here. And it's not the original Nintendo tape. So just that alone, that'll tell you. I mean, when it comes to these actual game boxes, okay, having tape on the outside, yeah, it could be a little bit of an eyesore, but if it's done right, it actually makes it look much better. I mean, this tear is going to be, I mean, it's bad, okay? It's going to be barely visible, if at all, when I'm done with this. You'll also see there's these little compression dents and dings here. Well, the reason we go into the iron stuff and we start doing that over here is when I flatten it out, the best chance that we stand of getting most, if not all, of these compression indentations off the box are going to be directly attributed to using this iron. Now, I always take a piece or two of paper towel, and then I fold it over, and then I let this run, I would say about 75% of the actual heat that it can produce, and I let a little steam out. Now, if you're going to do it directly on the box, not a good idea, because there is some kind of a gloss. I don't know exactly what it's called or what the technique is. Once again, people can chime in on the comments below, but you can actually ruin that little bit of luster on the box. However, and this is a big caveat, okay? if you're going to do any kind of ironing, you want to practice with your iron first. You want to make sure that you have a good idea of what it will or will not do at, like in a 3-second interval, with steam, without steam, because honestly, you can damage a box. But I've obviously done this before, so I do know how my iron works and doesn't work. And for me, a little bit of steam, 75% of the total heat output it can generate over a paper towel on top of a flattened box, about 10 seconds, that actually works for me. So, once that's done, then I will go ahead and I will put the actual thicker, this is just clear packing tape. I will put that on the places like the corner here, once it's flattened out, and then I'll just let it sit. Sometimes I will actually go and I'll heat it up. Not so much, like, it really depends, okay? Because sometimes it'll actually make it really sticky and nasty. But if I just go over it quickly, it kind of almost like, kind of like a welding type thing, right? But with stickers on the box, it actually blends it in. But you'll still see the stickers there. Once again, this is not to fix something up and then make it look like, hey, this is the way it was. This is, you know, for your own collection. This is to save a box that otherwise most people will be like, it's trash. Obviously, there are a lot worse boxes than this. So every situation, you know, of course, it depends on the situation, right? You know, what kind of box you have, what type of, you know, stuff that you're using, how hot your iron is. That's why I suggest you always work with your own box first. But one of the best skills, okay, that you can learn as a game collector, especially if you're collecting boxed items, and the whole point of this episode is tip number 1 in curating your collection when it comes to game system boxes and actual game boxes. The iron, the tape, the scissors, and the cleaner is your friend. So I'll go ahead at the end of this video. I think we're pretty much done. If you like what I showed you today, go ahead and give me a like or subscribe, tell your friends, let them know. I'm still kind of new at this YouTube thing. I've been a collector for a very long time. Too long, actually. I'm also a dad, and, you know, I have the game room with the kids. We might do videos later on and stuff like that. But I will go ahead. I will post the results of what I've done today. I'm not going to bore you with a 40-minute video on how it's done. You have to figure it out for yourself, because what I'm going to do today for this box may not necessarily work for you, but at least I gave you the information that'll help you enough on your way to doing this for yourself. So stay tuned, and at the end of this video, coming up right about now, you should see some pictures of the end result. And about an hour later, what? Lot of tape, lot of cleaning supplies. I forgot to mention, permanent markers are also really good for darkening up those gray spots. But, yeah. Well, I gotta do some cleanup. And, I forgot to mention, or actually I didn't even see this earlier, but, right around, I think it was here or the back, there was actually a bunch of crayon. So get the goo going with the spritz and wipe it off with the towel, and that cleaned up the box pretty good. And you know, there's a lot less. I don't know if it's going to pick up on the camera, but the indentations, you could see it with the light in the camera, but to the naked eye, it's actually, it's not really that visible. Anyways, let me see if I can do this. One sec. I'm assembling the box. And just make the Transformers noise. Trying to get it all. There we go. Ta-da! It's a lot better than what it was. So, like I said, this technique may not work for everybody, but it certainly works for me every time. Practice makes perfect, but yeah, I mean, if you don't mind the tape and you know, the effort, like I look at myself almost as a curator of my own collection, but you too can actually fix up a box just as well as this if you take the time and the effort. Peace.